don't really know you and haven't invested in you, it's like easy for you to become, it's easy for people that don't invest in like who you are and like what your content is to quickly change their tune on you. And I feel like there was a specific story that really affected at least some of the public opinion about me, and it was related to Michael Long. And I don't want...
Well, I mean, it was related to Michael Long in the sense that I called his daughter a brat. So technically, it was related to Michael Long.
It started to feel like people were too like they were so wrapped up in the emotional response that they were having.
Exactly. Too many people were getting way too emotional about this emotional subject. I mean, see, you should be more like me. I didn't let my emotions get the better of me. I mean, sure, some may call this sociopathic, but no, because I'm an empath.
To what they were seeing, that it was hard for them to believe that something like this could have been potentially manufactured or put out in a way to gain money for a custody fight or for whatever, you know?
I don't know why people keep thinking that I don't believe this little girl or that I accuse this all of being manufactured.
People start questioning, and so a bunch of people get court records and they go into because in the state of Texas, the court records were not sealed.
I just happen to know that about Texas because by a bunch of people getting court records, I really mean just me.
And there was so much evidence to suggest that what was happening was what's called parental alienation, and it was not actually what we were seeing.
Yes, because I'm the one who provided that evidence. I mean, I even shared a link to an article about it. So therefore, you know that the whole court must have been accepting of this theory that I came up with, right? I never insert myself in stories, though.
So anyways, okay, so Jen says it wasn't all QAnon outrage. I didn't say that it was QAnon outrage. I said QAnon was who helped spread it.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling me on that, Jen, you little bitch.
And eventually there's this like hearing that happened like in the fall, and we start working towards reunification with the mother. And there was a lot of spin, so much spin that was coming out like, oh, that's not true. Like the kids are still with him and everything's fine. And this still really happened.
Right. And that spin is completely unlike the spin that I'm trying to kind of roll out right here. I mean, sure, there was technically reunification put in process, but not with the child in question. But I'm purposely leaving that out here because it doesn't help my narrative of me wanting to prove to everyone that I was right all along and you all were wrong for being mad at me for calling the little girl a liar and a brat.
That happened, right? So they reunify, mom starts getting visitation with the kids.
Again, I'm purposely leaving out that this visitation did not include the child in question, but I've never really been much of one for accuracy, so.
Says that he had to let the attorneys go because he somehow went through $225,000 in like only a few months on legal fees, which is that's a lot if you think about it. I don't know many cases that cost that much money.
Yeah, I really don't. But I'm about to.
So people were asking him questions in this new group, which is now a public group, by the way, which is, again, like, I can't believe he's doing this all publicly.
Yay! No socks needed.
But there's she's like disappeared. I don't know what's going on. If you watch Critical K, she says that.
Yeah, so do you guys watch Critical K? Well, I mean, hands off, though, because she's mine.
Apparently, the rumor is that he and his wife that did all these accusations have now split up.
Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. Sure, it wasn't he and his wife on the video that made these accusations. It was actually the little girl, but I tried calling her a liar and everyone got mad at me. So this way I can call her a liar by calling them a liar. And then maybe people will not get mad at me and they'll think I'm right because maybe these people really are lying, even though the case has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, Critical K is like, I don't watch her. I just saw like people talking about it, and then I watched a little bit of what she was talking about, but she didn't give any evidence that he had a girlfriend, just that she like claimed he had a girlfriend, and that's not evidence to me, although I know that Kay does talk to Kelly, so I don't know.
Which is fine if she talks to other girls, so long as all they're doing is talking.
I'm specifically not talking about the kids because this has nothing to do with them. Like, the issues here are with the dad. Like, obviously attorneys don't just walk away from cases, and
Yet this court case is a family court case, and everything that comes out is going to affect the kids, but I'm specifically not talking about the kids.
if it's true that he went through all that money, I would love to know where that money went, because I can't imagine lawyers costing that much in such a short period of time.
Yeah, but talk to me again after depositions start in my case.
I think my chat is frozen. Oh no, the chat is not frozen. It's just nobody's talking.
No, we're not talking about me tonight, so you guys can chat amongst yourselves. You have my permission.
So I was talking to someone on Facebook, and they were saying that apparently Michael is accusing,
I have the best, most reliable sources.
played on people's emotions in a way that it was impossible for you to not believe what he said, because then you felt like you were not being believed if that happened to you. So you would put yourself in that position of that person, and you'd be like, well, if I don't believe what the dad is saying, then I'm not going to believe, I'd be minimizing what I've gone through, or, so.
Okay, double translation. When I say what the father said, what I'm really referring to is the little girl and her accusation. So, yeah, when the little girl made her accusations, when she was being all bratty and whatnot, I feel like she was just tugging on everyone's heartstrings and making them feel like, well, if I don't believe her, then who's going to believe me or my loved ones when, they've gone through this? So, I mean, yeah, you people with your empathy, I mean, you're so gullible. I mean, but I'm an empath.
Okay. And if you voiced those concerns, you were like a horrible person.
Yeah, I mean, you voice questions and you call a little girl making these kinds of accusations a liar and a brat, and people get so angry with you. I mean, come on.
I just wish that when these kinds of things happen, people who do take a pause and like critically think about
I just can't get Kay off my mind.
something and ask questions. I wish that the public mass, would kind of stop and reflect about, like, instead of going basically with your emotions about what happened, like, why is this happening in this way? Are these the ways a father would respond if things were as serious as they said? Like,
Yes, because every little girl who makes these kinds of accusations should not be believed unless their father behaves in a way that you deem appropriate, right?
but people couldn't get past what they saw on video, which they felt was, and in truth, when these kinds of things happen, the kids believe it because they're basically brainwashed by their parents. So you're not actually saying that the kid is lying, because in the eyes of the child, they believe everything that they've been told because they're a kid. So their parents are.
Yeah, see, I get smarter this time. I'm not just going to flat out call her a liar. I'm just going to say that she's a lying liar who lies because she was brainwashed.
Apparently the sons, Michael said this on Annie's channel, his sons told their therapists that their sister was lying.
Yeah, but those kids weren't brainwashed. I mean, just the one I say is was brainwashed. Oh, but I'm not going to talk about the kids at all.
Oh, I'm sure Jeffrey's video is about Trisha, right? Is that, I'm sure, what it's about. It's probably about Trisha.
Yeah, but we don't really talk about Trisha anymore on this channel. I mean, much like Creepshow Art, I gave them shout outs, I gave them support, I gave them my attention, and they didn't come worshiping the ground I walked on for doing that. So they're kind of like the people who shall not be named.
I typically decline when people ask if they can share their GoFundMes, because the truth is, for as many people that use them for good purposes, there's a lot of people that aren't. And you don't want to be attached to something that could be potentially linked to you being part of a fraud. You know, that's always what I'm concerned of.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of already linked to my alleged fraud through GoFundMe, so I need to be extra careful when I link myself to other people's GoFundMe.
And they're going to say, oh, you're Katie, you're exploiting the kids. But I'm honestly not. I'm more concerned that this guy had.
Not this guy. This guy. Okay, I wanted to wrap this up on a little bit of a serious note because of the discussion matter and because of the situation that Katie was referring to in her video. It's true that the father and hell, even the mother in this case may both be kind of pieces of shit. I don't know. But my whole take on it is, who cares? I mean, this isn't about them. Where their marriage is, either of them, where their relationships are, what they're doing, where they're spending their money. I don't think any of this really has any bearing on the issue at hand. The whole issue at hand here was this little girl who was caught on video crying to her mother and her grandmother about how she went through this terrible experience at the hands of her mother's boyfriend. And in return, and just on that alone, that information alone, Katie and others took it upon themselves to accuse her of behaving like a brat and lying. That's the issue. Nothing else. Everything else is, well, everything else, in the words of Emily D. Baker, is moot. It doesn't apply here. It doesn't matter. What matters is what this little girl said. So if and until this little girl takes back that accusation, I will continuously and unwaveringly give her my support. And she has my belief. I believe her when she says this. I don't care what her parents do, either of them. They don't apply here. It's just the little girl. I mean, I understand that other people are kind of wrapped up and involved in where these parents stand, especially the father. And hey, I don't blame you. I mean, T is T. I get it, you know. But what they're doing should not apply to this little girl, or whether or not this little girl is telling the truth, or what exactly happened to this little girl. Everything going on in their lives, it should be separate, and it should not have any bearing, good or bad, on what this little girl says. And I understand, like, people like Annie from 10 to Life and The Glare. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love watching those two. Both of them. I especially like watching The Glare. So I understand that they kind of befriended Michael, and I feel like they've even come out and said that they feel kind of hurt or betrayed. See, I think their mistake though was in expecting anything from Michael, because why? Just because he happens to be the father of the little girl who made these accusations, that he should somehow be a stand-up guy and follow through with his promises and his word? I mean, really, they took a chance on believing him, and it sucks. I've been there. I know it sucks, but they took that chance based on nothing, knowing nothing about this man or his history. So I understand why people feel betrayed, and I get it. And I'm not judging. I've been there. I get it. I do get it. I feel like a lot of people lost sight of what this whole story was really about. And they got too invested in what side others were on and who was right and who was wrong, and pitting, parent against parent, when none of that really matters. I mean, let the court's there to figure out. The court will decide what to do about it. I mean, that's kind of their expertise, really. They don't always get it right. I know this, but they're going to get it right a hell of a lot more than the public's going to get it right. So, I mean, we got to kind of sit back and let the court do its thing. Regardless, anything else going on in this family should not have any bearing on this little girl. And Katie can try to spin it any way she wants in her video, but there's no denying that she did not believe this girl based on nothing but what this little girl said. And she's still trying to excuse that away. She's still trying to convince people that she was not wrong for disbelieving this girl, for calling her a liar, for calling her a brat. Her reasoning is, if the father turns out to actually be a piece of shit, well, then she's vindicated. But no, that doesn't matter. I mean, all along, there were signs and there was evidence that maybe the father was a piece of shit. But that doesn't excuse Katie not believing the little girl. And also, the girl was 9 at the time, okay? I believe she's 10 now. So we're talking not quite a year or whatever, but a good half a year anyways. And Katie keeps trying to insist that this little girl's been brainwashed, that she doesn't know she's lying or she doesn't really believe she's lying. I'm asking all the parents out there, okay? Anyone who's had a child that age or a child 5 years old or a child 15 years old, how many times have you begged them to pick up their damn room, to do anything? You think you could brainwash them against their other parent that easily, to hold their story for this long, to be interrogated by X amount of investigators, hospital staff, exams, whatever, and still hold their story? You think you as a parent could pull that off? You think any parent is going to easily pull that off or pull it off without mistakes? She's an idiot if she thinks it's that easy to brainwash anyone, let alone a child, against their other parent. That's just bizarre to me. In the realm of possibilities, it is much more likely that this little girl, is being honest in her accusations than it is that Katie is correct in her theory of this little girl being brainwashed. Katie talks about conspiracy theorists involved in the story, the whole QAnon and Save the Children, and she's got a point there. However, she doesn't think that her own theory is kind of conspiratorial. I mean, she's accusing brainwashing over a little girl speaking out. That sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. Okay, and lastly, this is the first video I've recorded since I started memberships, so I get to do member shoutouts. I want to thank Poodlerific, Larissa M, T King, Tina Collery, Rena Rue, and Yoo-Hoo Shoo Shoo. Thank you so much for becoming members. Have a good night.